Hey, what's going on, guys? Pixel Gadget here, bringing you another Game Designer Plays, Episode 4. This video is pretty exciting. The game is really opening up more and more. As I play, I'm starting to process what this game is, how it's doing what it's doing. I'm noticing all kinds of things that, like, I never consciously realized. So this is the last level, I guess the final boss of the first prelude, I guess, set of levels, whatever. And this one was pretty challenging. The game definitely tested my mettle here. The first thing I want to mention is I finally realized that the jump is extremely high in this game. I know, it's like, oh, you're a game designer. Shouldn't you have, like, consciously noticed that first thing? I guess I may have noticed on subconscious level, but I never explicitly said, oh yeah, this game's all about verticality. And so, of course, the jump is like 3 times as high as a normal jump. And you've got air control and all this stuff. So the controller is really pushing you towards kind of jumping around, flying in the air. And I remember seeing gameplay of this before I played and thinking, God, it looks so unnatural. Like, I wonder if that, like, feels good to play. Oh, I want to talk about this. This kind of platforming section is really nice, very atmospheric. I love the sound effects on those crunching machines that, like, crush you. This part had me sweating wall jumping here. I also noticed how that lava is, like, flowing in the direction you're supposed to go. That's just some good, like, level design, like, direction. Look how the lava's flowing in the way it wants you to go, just subconsciously nudging you along. Very effective. That's always good, like rivers, flowing lava, yeah, having things move. This was creepy. Abandon hope, all ye who enter here. I was like, oh god, what's gonna happen? The dramatic pause, and I was literally just thinking that these dudes were, like, smattered all over the map, and I was like, wow, this guy's getting a lot of use out of this 3D model. I was just thinking that. So I'm gonna be real, this fight was very difficult for me, and I had to try a number of strategies, and I think this is where a lot of those commenters who were saying, like, yeah, there's all these cool interactions with the mechanics and the guns and the enemies, this is where I really have to kind of lock in and embrace change, because I was, like, committed to blowing this guy up with my shotgun, and it was just not doing damage. It was so slow, and I was like, okay, wait a minute, I got to adapt to this guy. He's a slow-moving target. His attacks are slow and telegraphed. What's the best gun for this? And then the other guy comes, and I'm like, oh no. I thought I was doing a pretty good job avoiding his attacks. I was like, oh, I'm not doing that. Like, you know, he's not hurting me too much. And let's just say that changes. This is when I decide, okay, the pistol. Pistol's what I want here. But yeah, they're going to get me. There it is. Another thing about the death sequence that I didn't mention in the last episode is there's, like, a kind of console text, like, code in the left-hand part of the screen that kind of goes down the screen in red and yellow text. Very good. Lots of reds is good for death sequences because it immediately tells the player, oh, you know, you're dying. I thought this was the reflect bounce shot. I was trying to do the same strategy I did with the kind of sword robot guy, but I actually had the wrong pistol equipped. So, whoops. Love the fact that when you shoot this stone golem in the head, blood squirts everywhere. It doesn't make sense, but of course for the game context, it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I was so satisfied, actually. And I don't know if you'll notice, but the more I shoot him in the head, his head gets kind of crunched up and, like, looks broken. So this game was just blowing my mind. This fight was so hard. Like, this little combat area is the smallest boss fight arena we've seen. I like the movement in the scene, obviously, the steam coming up. Then this final form of this dude was, like, unstoppable. I could not... Yeah, he was just popping off. Look at that, dude. He was just popping off. So I was like, all right, I'll try again. This is where I think I get the reflect shot correct. I'm like, oh, yeah, right, the red one has the reflect shot. I'm like, okay, we're going to get this guy this time. So I'm changing up my strategy. The game is kind of... definitely feels fair. It's like, yeah, I could have tried a different strategy, a different gun, whatever. Find the gun and the movement style that's going to beat this guy. So I never felt cheated in any of these deaths. It really felt like skill building, like learning how to get good at this game. I also got like a new mouse pad that's like super low friction or whatever, so I feel like my aim is kind of like bonkers in these later, like once I get warmed up. Obviously don't look at right now, okay, but you know, in 10 minutes my aim is honestly like kind of fucking crazy. So there's that. But yeah, I start reflect shotting these guys, just doing massive damage. I'm like, okay, I got this thing figured out. Like, oh, that's the weapon to use against these guys. Small enclosed space, big slow-moving target. Yeah, the reflect shot, obviously. So that freaking upset me. I was so mad. I was like, I almost had him. But this is when I'm like, oh, I need to get both their health super low and kill them basically simultaneously to avoid that final supercharged whatever. So the game was, this boss fight is like expertly put together. This is where I was experimenting. I was like, can I ground pound him? Maybe that's something. Yeah, this whole sequence was just beautifully put together. I really like the whole abandon all hope ye who enter here. Just like super creepy, atmospheric. Really like it. I like the retro style a lot for the environments, the kind of pixelated text effects and pixelated pictures. We're going to see some of those in the next section. And yeah, jumping in the sky and kind of dashing around was really the only way to win this. So this is the moment where I figure out which one is which and try to get both their health to one shot. This is also where I realized that basically if I barrel stuff their face and get close to them, I heal instantly. And this is like me figuring out this game. I know it's weird to just have figured this out, but I'm like, oh, I could just heal myself if I just kind of go all in on these enemies. So this game is like, has a very, I'm starting to realize, because I just hadn't thought about it, but this game is a very unique kind of mechanic with the whole blood stuff. My criticism of it is it's not obvious. Like, I can tell he put a lot of work into the blood particle effects and stuff, but so many games have crazy blood particle effects and don't have this special mechanic where you actually heal from the blood particle effects or whatever, that I just didn't understand. Like, I didn't intentionally heal myself off of enemies. I was just like kind of trying to kill them as fast as possible, and if I got a heal, great, and if I didn't, whatever. So in this playthrough, I finally realized, oh my god, like if I'm super close to them and I jib them or get the blood effect, which seems to be from headshots and stuff and shotgun damage, oh my god, I full heal. So this game is incentivizing me to get in close with these enemies and just barrel stuff them. Okay, so it's actually very interesting. In my last playthrough, I was talking about contrast and how I believe contrast in video games is the most important game design principle you can implement in your game. Why is that? Because it just is very important for engagement. This right here is the most contrast I've ever seen in a game in my life. You're in this fucking hellscape, like, furnace, I guess, or like forge, and suddenly you're in a tranquil Greco-Roman garden. I was like, this is awesome. And look at that. The attention to detail is crazy. So there's this nice happy music now. And then there were these diegetic speakers. Diegetic just means it like makes sense in the scene. And the trees are fake with the little bolts on the side. And there's kind of like this wall. I thought this was so cool. Sorry if you hear a cat meowing in the background. He's this wild cat that visits me. I think he's gonna meow for the rest of the recording. Oh god. So we'll see if he keeps meowing. I don't know. But basically, yeah, this whole thing is diegetic. It's clearly we're some kind of simulation. All right. Okay, we're back. And basically, this is extremely good, just contrast. And it was so peaceful and nice compared to the hellscape. I wanted to stay here forever. The nice music, more contrast. And so contrast goes more than just colors and shapes and sounds and like the music. It's also like this hallway and the space and how we go from these nice big open spaces. This was me figuring out this kind of key card mechanic, and I was like, oh, this is super cool. Holding the skull in the hand is really nice. That's called, like, also, I guess, diegetic UI, right? It's like, oh, I could, when I pick it up, it just go into the UI, but I'm holding it in my left hand, which is super cool. I really like the retro style, the pixelated textures on these skulls. Yeah, the peaceful music. I was just kind of inspecting the place. I was like, this is lovely. I like how the terrain is like slightly bumpy. It's not just flat. I'm guilty of having like totally flat terrain in my games because I'm afraid of the terrain tool. I don't know. Oh man, did you notice how when I walked through the flower beds, there were like flower particles that puffed up? That was so cool. So much attention to detail. I love it. And then the music changes, more contrast, but there's still that kind of nice, happy piano playing in the background, so it was just so trippy, dude. This whole sequence was absolutely trippy. Again, the narrative fidelity is like not there. There's no real explanation for what this place is or why we're here or what's going on. But it doesn't matter. The gameplay was absolutely engaged. At this point, I was like locking in on the gameplay. I was absolutely locked in and just enjoying the heck out of this thing. I love these new enemies. They're called the drones. I love them. I love them. I love the projectiles in this game. I think I've said it before. They're very readable. They're relatively slow moving. I just really like the way this thing is put together. It's beautiful. And so, yeah, this hallway was a really nice combat encounter. Some of the kind of things that we're going to be covering in this series is, yeah, combat encounter, architecture. This room made me so happy. I love the volumetric lighting coming from, I guess, a fake sun on the those kind of glass windows there. And indoor flower beds, very strange, but diegetically doesn't totally make sense. I guess like a tomb. It's like a tomb in there. That guy was cool. I bet he's a boss fight later. If this game has taught me anything, I bet it's a boss fight later. Just loving that. I love that art there. It's so beautiful. This room was lovely. The lighting. Contrast of lighting is another big thing. Dark areas to light areas. So, yeah, at this point, I'm locking in. I think I'm starting to get the hang of this game. I'm really enjoying the grenade launcher. One amazing contrast is the blood mechanic itself. You've got these beautiful, clean hallway. Look how nice it is. Look how pristine. And then this was me experimenting with the kind of tooltip thing here, talking about the nail magnet. This gun was super cool. And then it just, I just want you to look at this. When I was playing it, it seemed way more badass. Now I'm watching it, it's like not a huge deal. I guess it looked kind of underwhelming, honestly, but look at all the blood and guts everywhere. Like, that's contrast, right? Very good. Very powerful engagement tool. These little drones really made me happy. I don't know why. I thought they were just kind of cute. So basically, the game is showing me a side of itself that I just haven't seen yet, and I'm loving it. I'm loving that this game has so much variance, so much contrast inside of itself, and it just kind of rolls with it. Like, it didn't stop the action to explain or justify, like, oh, there's going to be this change of pace, and oh, you're going over here now. Nope. It's like, hey, you're here now. Like, you deal with it. I like that. I feel like the video game is valuing my time, and that was so cool. How when you're sliding on the thing there, the flowers on the top of that stone thing, it had more flower particle effects and kind of a flower sound effect. Very good. Very, very good. And another little... that was a really great level design thing. I don't know if you know what that's called, but basically, I guess, what I've always called is just the Skyrim dungeon style, where the end of the dungeon leads you right back to the beginning of the dungeon seamlessly. That was lovely. Absolutely lovely. And with key cards and stuff, that's very necessary, because obviously going to be a lot of backtracking. I loved this level so much. I'm also biased because this visual style right here, Greco-Roman, beautiful garden, kind of tranquil vibes, this is definitely my style. I love Greco-Roman stuff. You'll probably see it in my next couple video games I'll be making. I'm experimenting with this style, but yeah, and then combined with the retro kind of Hexen 2 Quake 1 bit style. That guy got stuck in the the stairs there. But I'm just loving these combat encounters. They feel challenging, making me think, like, okay, which weapon should I use? But I'm pretty much just brute forcing it with the shotgun at this point because I'm really embracing the fact that I can just barrel stuff the enemies and get full HP. Oh, yeah. I think one of my favorite thing about the combat encounters in this game is the fact that for almost every single like room you fight in, you walk in the room, it's empty, it's quiet, maybe there's almost no music, and then the enemies instantiate in. They spawn in, and then the fight starts. I like that a lot. One of the big problems with some games where the enemies are just already in the scene is you can't, as a designer, you can't really control exactly how the player is going to be interacting with the scene, right? So the same thing happened here. I go into the center, they spawn all around me like an ambush, and it feels so good for whatever reason. It feels very good to go into the room, doors lock behind you, and then the enemies spawn into the room. And they could spawn in waves. I think they do for some of these combat encounters. Yeah, they just did right there. So there was like a first wave of like some of the ranged dudes, and now the drone, a full room of the drones coming in. That is so sick. Multi-stage combat encounters that just feel so satisfying. So I'm really loving this game. I mean, I'm starting to like understand what it's doing and how it's doing things correctly with the jump height being super high, so the game is incentivizing that verticality in combat, and then the air dashing being really like I'm almost never dashing while I'm on the ground. I'm almost always dashing while I'm in the air. I'm not using the ground pound too much, really. Maybe I should use it more. It's that's one of my favorite abilities because I guess if you crush an enemy with it, it heals you completely. This is where I was checking out the lore and some of the enemies a little bit, but it's a lot of reading, and I want to save you guys time, so I just want to talk about the design. I don't know if you noticed that, but when I spawned into the level, it like briefly showed me what level I was on. I feel like it showed it a little too quickly. I know I was just saying how, oh, it's so fast-paced and it shows me things really quickly. Well, I would have liked to know what level I'm on and what the progress I'm making, so a few seconds on that thing would have been nice, but that's like a tiny, tiny adjustment. And with a game this big, oh man, tiny adjustments like that slip through the cracks all the time. So who knows? Maybe the designer wanted to do something like that and just forgot. Or who knows? But yeah, this playthrough was very good. I was just thinking I wanted to talk about contrast in video games in general and how the contrast in environments and enemy encounters and mechanics is so important for maintaining player engagement. But I can tell you, when I walked into that Greco-Roman garden, my engagement shot through the roof. Mainly because of my personal bias, but also because of the sheer contrast and be like, wow, this game has so much to show me. It's like the game hasn't even started to begin opening up to me and just showing me all it has to go for. I'm very excited to continue playing the game. I really think I want to play it all the way through now because I'm not sure if I'll have a lot to talk about as the game progresses, but I am just enjoying it. And if people are enjoying watching me play, then that's good enough for me, right? I mean, I just want to provide useful information, design information for the gamers and the game designers. So I'm here for it. I'm all here for it. Yeah, just loving this game. Everything about it feels really clean, really polished, and the level design is solid. The level design is interesting. It's this modular design, but it doesn't feel clunky, it doesn't feel repetitive, and yet it has this clear structure. And it reuses a lot of hallways and staircases and like doorways and assets, but it still comes across as interesting because the enemy variety and arrangements have been so good. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you.